everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Never Seen It. This is a podcast about movies that we haven't seen yet. I'm your host today. My name is Betsy, and I'm here with Trent.
I am also here.
You are always here, as we say each and every single week. We are in episode 2, week 2 of our new series for April, I'm with the Band. These are all movies featuring musicians, both real and fake. This is going to be an entry into the fake band genre. We are watching from 2016, Sing Street. And Trent, you have not seen this movie, and I think apart from me telling you about it, you kind of don't know what this is.
No, I remember watching a trailer for the movie, maybe in the theater at the time, maybe you showed it to me, but I remember watching a trailer. I am aware of Sing Street. And outside of the very, very few things that I remember about it, I really couldn't tell you what's going on in the movie. But I do remember you very much enjoying the movie.
Yeah, this is definitely one where I don't expect as many people have watched this, and I really think it's a shame because it is a delightful little movie that I have been trying to get more people to see. It is a coming-of-age movie, and are you familiar with the name John Carney?
No.
Do you know the movie Once?
No.
No, oh my God, I have failed you as a wife because you should have really seen that by now. John Carney is a guy who is Irish. He used to be in a lot of bands, and he's one of those guys that translated from being in music to making movies about music. So all of his movies to date have some element of the musical about them.
Did he write the movie? Did he direct the movie? What's his connection here? Or is he just somebody from the past?
He wrote and he directed this movie. And I think that's kind of his thing, is he writes and directs all of his movies. I think he's made 4 at this point. He might have another one coming out, but every one of them has some kind of theme about music. People coming together and making music together, whether it be for a brief period of time, for a long period of time. He's a filmmaker that I actually really enjoy. I've liked all of his movies. I haven't seen the most recent one that he put out, but Once I really like. I've seen that a number of times. It won an Oscar for Best Original Song. He did one with Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo called Begin Again, which I was surprised to find I actually really liked that one too.
Yeah, I remember seeing a trailer for that one too. It looked good, but in a way that is, I don't know, music people, and I'm just going to say this as a preface here, music people can be very, very pretentious, much like movie people can be very pretentious. So if this guy who wrote and directed the movie is going to come at this with open arms and welcome me, even though I might not like his style of music or what this is really about, I'm going to be there for it. So I'm excited to finally watch this with you because you've been nonstop asking me to watch the movie.
Okay, that is a little bit of an exaggeration.
Just a little bit.
But it has come up a number of times. I've been trying to find a way to work this into the show. I finally got my way. So we're going to go and watch Sing Street, and I will finally hear what Trent thinks about it when we come right back. And that was Sing Street. At long last, Trent, I get to ask you, what did you think of it?
That was a nice movie. I enjoyed a lot of the music here. I enjoyed the kind of the, like you said, it's a coming of age movie set in the 1980s with a whole bunch, like it's not quite a musical where like you've described to me a jukebox musical where it's a bunch of popular songs from the era, and if you know the music, you're just going to enjoy whatever it is that you're watching. It's kind of cheating to a point.
Yeah, they build a story around existing songs.
Yeah. I like those to a point, but it's usually not my thing. But despite, a few different gripes that I have about the movie and the progression of the characters, I think it's a fine movie. But I do think that the best part of the movie is this kid's transformation from being, I don't know, kind of a quiet, nerdy kid who doesn't really have a personality of his own to really owning his personality.
There is something so confident about Connor, and you're like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie, he's sort of mousy. He doesn't really speak up for himself. And yet, in the same breath, when he sees this beautiful girl across the street, he immediately walks over to her and within 2 minutes has her phone number.
Yeah, and I feel like at that moment, he doesn't actually have a plan. He has no idea what he is going to do, but he knows that he has to approach her and somehow be involved with her life.
And that is a level of confidence I don't think I have ever had in my entire life.
No. And the question I wrote down in my notes, Betsy, is how many bands were formed with the explicit purpose of meeting girls?
99% of them. Almost certainly, because he doesn't even have a band. He barely plays the guitar. He's just kind of regurgitating things that he heard his brother say, because he has an older brother who introduces him to music. It is the tale as old as time. Most people who are the younger siblings have an older sibling guiding them along in this arena. They say, this is what's cool, this is what you should listen to, and they kind of follow suit. And so he doesn't even know what he's talking about. He just knows, well, I've committed. I have to form a band now.
Yeah. He goes up to the girl, asks her to be in a music video after she says, well, I'm a model. He makes up everything. The fact that the kid that he literally just met is the producer of the video, and he's in a band, and they're actually making plans to make a music video because, hey, this is 1985. Music videos are still kind of very new. And I love the conversation about music videos throughout the course of the movie.
Because the movie takes place in 1985, where it's like the dawn of MTV. It's the dawn of people making music videos.
Well, it's really the dawn of bands always making music videos.
Yes.
Because music videos were around since the 60s.
But they were not mainstream. Not every band was making videos.
Right. But because there was so much unique music being created in the 80s, you had a lot of creative directors trying to make these music videos. It's why we know the name Spike Jonze. It's why we know the name Mick G.
David Fincher.
Yeah.
All these guys got their start in music videos.
So you have a whole lot of creative people in this cradle of creativity, blending the music and the artistry. And, you know, the dad in the movie is saying something about, well, they're not actually singing in the video. That's not the point. The point is blend whatever the music is maybe about with the very attractive and confident people in the band.
You're trying to elicit multiple reactions. First, you're hearing it on the radio, and then you're trying to solidify that feeling by here's an interpretation of that song.
Right.
It's like how they have to make commercials for perfume ads. How do you elicit a feeling
A fragrance.
of a fragrance?
Yeah.
But here you at least have words, you have songs, there's lyrics, so you kind of have a baseline to work with. But you're right, the first scene where the brother is watching and he's like, you don't fucking get it, guys. This is art. It's mixing so many things.
It's also the dawn of the big rock star or the pop star. Michael Jackson wasn't Michael Jackson until he started to make music videos. And everybody who saw them right away was like, okay, I already knew I liked his music, but good God, does he know how to dance? So it's melding the persona of the person actually, you know, singing the songs and making the music, not only with individual artists, but bands themselves. And the music video itself is a value add. It's selling you and it's selling your personality. Because think about when you're just listening to the radio back in the 70s and 80s. You don't know what these people look like. You don't know that a lot of these guys are ugly motherfuckers.
Oh my God, they were so ugly, and it
Yeah.
didn't matter. Now you don't really see ugly musicians because
No,
we had to move away
they're not
from
allowed
that.
to make
They're
music.
not allowed to be. No, they're just not allowed to be popular and ugly.
Okay, fine.
You have to work behind the scenes if you're ugly.
Yes.
But yeah, we're tying all of this into the movie. So I mentioned John Carney. He wrote the script. He helped write the songs. He directed the movie. It's also kind of a reflection of his youth. Like, he would have been growing up in the 1980s, hearing all of these bands, seeing MTV blow up and the music video becoming the norm. And he kind of gives the commentary at the beginning of it was a new thing. And it was kind of amazing, and everybody could have access to a video camera. So this little dweeb starts a band and they start making music videos. They don't even have a fucking band, and all of a sudden they're just like fancying themselves rock stars.
Not only do they not have a band, they don't have any music, so they start off by playing other people's music.
But this is another feature of the film that I actually really like, where as he is listening to the music his brother is giving him, the band's sound evolves.
Yeah.
His fashion evolves. It's the thing that you do when you're 15 years old. You are discovering what you like. You're discovering who you want to be. And that music becomes a part of this experience and a reflection of where am I going in life? And the way he starts from quiet little dweeb to I'm getting on a fucking boat with my girlfriend and we're going to London.
With no money, no plans, no nothing.
And there is such a rush watching these two idiots at the end of the movie just go for it. That's why I think I really like this, because you're like, I am too old and pragmatic. I don't get to be young and alive the way these two kids are.
Yeah.
And even in the movie, his brother, it's past his time. He says, I should have done this years ago, but he was either too afraid or too on drugs or too messed up.
Or his parents would have completely discouraged him, or he was in a depressive state because of his parents. Who the hell knows? But he still tried to be a good brother. He shared his music, he shared his thoughts about music, and I was a little bit, I had rewatched a trailer before we sat down to watch this movie, and it seemed to me like the brother character was gonna be kind of a prick and say things about fucking Phil Collins and just other music that he doesn't like that's all bad music. I don't get down with people like that, but thankfully he was redeemed by the end of the movie. But yeah, he's being a good brother. He's not discouraging him. He's actually encouraging him to get better.
He says, that song you did, that cover, this is crap. And he's tearing the tape out of the cassette. Yeah. And he's like, you know, you could tape over those. No, it's so bad, I have to destroy
He
it.
He pulls the tape out of the actual tape. He opens up the door and is wafting it because we need to get the stink out of this room. That's really great.
And then he crushes it beneath his feet.
He stomps it, yes.
To really thoroughly prove his point. Like, you cannot make this music. I'm going to help you. I'm going to be your sage guide on your music journey.
He also says something about, like, don't use other people's art. You need to make your own art.
It's okay to listen to these bands for inspiration, and it's okay as a writing exercise when you're getting started. You are encouraged to do things like this. Write a song that sounds like Hall & Oates. Write a song that sounds like The Cure. Write a song that sounds like Duran Duran. It's a place to start.
Try it out, exactly.
Try it out.
And it's not only just the music itself, but you said it before. He starts to dress like these people just to try it out. See what it looks like on you. See how other people react to you. And see what you can get away with at your Catholic school.
He read the 140-page guidebook, and it said nothing in there about dyeing his hair.
Right.
And yeah, there's a little bit of that punk rock energy where he's just trying to find the line and push the boundaries within this little life that he is leading. Can he actually get out of this situation? Because it's set against the backdrop of Dublin in 1985, where the economy was in a really bad place. His parents are fighting all the time because the economy is really pressuring them.
Yeah.
And because they probably shouldn't have been married in the first place, and now mom's having an affair.
Right. I do like the story that the brother tells. Like, the brother was conceived because these two wanted to fuck, and they got married even though they were not actually in love with each other. Come to find out, Ireland did not allow divorce until 1997.
So even when they decide to separate, that's all they can do.
Yeah.
They cannot be legally divorced.
And when they said that in the movie, I looked up what the actual law was, and sure enough, 1997 is when they changed it. And I was running through all sorts of different scenarios in my mind about, you cannot be legally divorced from another person. Yeah, it's down on paper that you're separated, so I guess it's legal for you to live apart from each other. I just can't really think about how that works practically, but I don't know. It's just a thought I had.
It's also so recent in the grand scheme of things.
Right. In our lifetime.
But yeah, these two are getting a divorce. He has to switch schools, so he's the new kid in school.
And it's a rougher school, too.
And they bring up multiple times how many people, their dads were alcoholics, or their dads are alcoholics and they're in some recovery center somewhere, or their dads beat them. Like, the number of kids in this movie who have really fucked up home lives is basically every single one of them. And all of this energy is going into their music in the hopes that they can make it as a band and get the hell out of here. Even his friend Eamon says, you know what? The band will be fine. If you want to go to London, take her to London, get us a record deal, and then come back and get us the fuck out of here.
Right.
I believe in this band. I believe in you. But I also know that sometimes people are going to get left behind in this place.
Yeah, and you saying that, I don't know. I didn't get the feeling that everybody wanted to get out of there. I think the girlfriend definitely did. I think he definitely did based on his home life. But the rest of them, I just didn't get that feeling.
They might be more subtle about it, but I feel like they would all be happy to leave if given an opportunity.
Sure.
Because the thing about these guys is they're all dorks. These are like unpopular kids in this school. When they show the bass player and drummer reading the wanted bulletin, like, hey, join our band.
Yeah.
They're like, that's us. This sounds like us. We should do it. There's a guy behind them, like, teasing them and bullying them. And almost every member of the band at one point or another gets bullied or is ostracized in some weird specific way.
Yeah, I think that's what makes this movie very unique, because at no time do you think that any of these kids are cool.
No, they're all very talented, but it's deemed a nerdy quality to be talented.
But are they, though? I think by the end of the movie, yes, they do get better, and much better, really. But I will definitely have some thoughts about the progression of their band here in a little while.
Well, let's take a quick break, and we will talk more about that after a word from our sponsor. What's the matter, Billy? You look bored just sitting there clicking that pen.
Well, Becky, I've already listened to this week's episode of Never Seen It, and there's nothing left for me to do. Guess I'll just sit here and click this pen until next Sunday.
Wait, Billy, what if I told you that the Never Seen It crew puts out 4 other shows every month?
4 shows? How do I get those?
It's easy. Just go to patreon.com/neverseenitpod, and for $5 per month, you get access to all their extra content.
Wow, that sounds a whole lot better than clicking this pen.
It sure does, Billy. It sure does. So we've got this kind of ragtag group of guys, and we literally get to see them putting the band together. And once they decide they're going to be called Sing Street, they have like this slow motion walk out of the back shed where they're smoking cigarettes. And
there's so much.
There's so many cigarettes.
So many kids smoking in this movie.
But when they first start, they're not good. Like, they're not bad. I would say if we go on a spectrum from the worst band you've ever heard, they're not way over there.
I would say the spectrum starts at somebody who has never picked up an instrument in their life, all the way up to, the greatest bands of all time. I would say they're more, if it's like a 0 to 10 scale, I would say they're like a 2.
And that's fair. I think that's a fair place for them to start. It's not like those musicians who form super groups where they've all been in the industry for 30 years.
Sure.
And then they just decide one day to play together. Those guys can just start. They can just do it and they sound great.
Yeah, because those people are actual musicians. It's not just, hey, I'm a drummer and I can drum really well, but I can't do anything else. Where I was coming from here is, when they record themselves for the first time, they give the tape to the brother. The brother thinks that they're terrible because their timing is way off. At the very end, they get very, very fast, and the singing is bad. The recording's bad. There's a lot of different problems with the way they are playing together, but the difference is they know it. They can hear it. They can identify what it is that they need to work on. But my problem with it is they go from this, which is very, very bad, and you would never put this out for anybody to listen to other than, people who won't laugh at you. They go from that to actually okay to good to really good. And I think even in their mind, they could get to the point where they are in that music video in the school, at least the one in his own mind. That video, that music, those lyrics, all fantastic. Betsy, my favorite moment in this movie is that dream sequence.
Drive It Like You Stole It, Trent.
I know. That song is my favorite thing. I was loving it.
It is the moment in the movie where he is imagining a world where his shitty little problems have gone away.
Yeah.
And everybody around him, their shitty little problems have gone away. And they all just do a choreographed dance in the gym. And it is the biggest smile on your face moment in the entire film.
And it's not just that. It's not about what is happening on screen or the idealized version of what he thinks that he wants to have happen. No, it is legitimately a good song. I want to have this.
Trent, the songs in this movie are great. We talked about it last week when we did Josie and the Pussycats. I was less than impressed with that music. It's not the worst music I've ever heard, but there wasn't anything in there that made me go, hello, getting the soundtrack, putting it on my phone, let's go.
Sure.
I love the songs in Sing Street. And you're right, that one in particular is great. I really wish this was one that had been in contention for like best original song, because I think if it had gotten an Oscar nomination, maybe more people would have seen this movie by now.
You're right. And I think, Betsy, I go back to a very early episode of this here podcast, Never Seen It, when we covered That Thing You Do. The progression here is very similar. Now, they don't get huge and they're not really popular. They don't have a song on the radio or anything like that. But how these guys come together, the types of music that they're playing, and just the general camaraderie between all these guys. I remember really liking this movie, and I enjoy the same aspects that are presented in this movie. Do you get my comparisons between them?
Yeah, I would say that, especially as it pertains to the music, both That Thing You Do and Sing Street take kind of a similar approach where they're really trying to capture a spirit of the time the movie is taking place. So That Thing You Do is very pop music from the 1960s.
Yep.
But they also have a lot of original music that's played throughout the movie that is more like the corny shit that was popular before rock music was popular. There's some of that sprinkled in. Sing Street is a love letter to 1980s music. As I said, the movie opens with them watching Duran Duran. So the first song he writes has a lot of that kind of a vibe to it. When they start listening to The Cure, they're described as happy sad. It's happy sad music. So he writes happy sad music.
And he starts to dress happy sad.
And you get all of these iterations of music as the band evolves, and it's all based on whatever it is they're listening to at that moment. So the soundtrack is really rich in that way because you get all different kinds of music, but they were all happening at the same time in the 1980s.
Yeah, and thankfully, it's not all one genre either. I think we are both fans of bands that have actually changed genres over the decades. And I respect a band who is not afraid to really experiment with their own sound, change out band members, change out instruments, and just see what comes out of them.
And it's much easier to do that when you are just starting out.
When no one knows you.
No one knows you. These kids are literally just figuring out what their sound is. They say, we don't really know what we are, but I'm a
futuristic.
I'm a futurist.
Futurist, thank you.
I just don't want to play the stuff my parents liked. That's like the only stipulation.
Betsy, if I had ever started a band, that would have been my stipulation too. I just don't want to sound like what my parents listen to.
And I would wager most kids, especially teenagers, would say exactly the same thing, Trent. And by the end of the movie, they don't sound anything like they did at the beginning. But that's how bands evolve. And eventually they're going to have their own sound. They're going to find out whatever that is. And the closest you get to it is that last song they sing called Brown Shoes, where it is just a fuck you to the establishment.
It's a protest song.
It is a protest song to the situation they all find themselves in because they think it's bullshit. And that is the thing that kids think about. They're just
that's rock music.
That is rock music. We don't like this school. We don't like the people in charge here. We're all stuck here. So fuck you. And they say, are you ready for our first and last gig as a band? And people actually are responding to it. The same room that was mocking them as they're wandering around in their goofy ass outfits trying to figure out a style for themselves are dancing and singing along and having the greatest time while they're performing at this show.
I would like to point out, though, the vast majority of the people who are having a good time are the ladies in the group, because most of the other guys in the crowd are just yelling obscenities at the band, which I appreciated when the lead singer, the kid, was responding to the hecklers by saying, hey, if you're going to do that, why did you even come?
Specifically, he said, Dad, if you're going to do that, why did you come?
Is that what he said?
He made a joke, yes.
Oh, wow. That's even better.
It's even better. Which is why I'm saying Connor has this strange confidence, and it really evolves the more he is growing with this band, and the more comfortable he is becoming as a songwriter, and the more bold he is becoming as it pertains to Rafina. And he literally started the band for this girl, and watching him actually decide it's okay to like her and to pursue her.
Sure. And really, it's not even a matter of just him being more confident. It is him being more mature. Because one of the different milestones that he kind of accomplishes here in his journey throughout the movie, he goes to school one day and he confronts the bully. And they're going back and forth in the schoolyard, and he's just throwing whatever it is back at the bully. And that's all well and fine in and of itself. But later on, him and the manager kid go to the bully's house to recruit him to be a roadie for their band. They're trying to put all the stupid childish bullshit behind them to say, hey, we know you got it hard at home, kid. How about you come out with us? Let's give you something to do to make yourself, I don't know, feel better about your situation. Because clearly he's in a bad spot.
They all see it because, like I said, even the bully has a bad home life. The only reason bullies are bullies typically is someone at home is bullying them first.
And you see it firsthand here because him and his father come across the band making their music video, and the dad is being even worse than the kid is.
And when he makes a comment, Dad smacks him across the face. So at the end, when they say, join us, be our roadie, you know what happens? When you're with the band, even if you're not in the band, there's going to be girls everywhere, and you are going to be a part of something.
Yeah.
That little dweeb, who is like 2 years younger than him with his mouth full of braces, is like, I am so confident. I am a manager. I have handwritten business cards. Are you in or are you out, you big shaved head bully? Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And it convinces him. And that little pep in his step when he is following these two, like, I'm the roadie, I'm involved, I have friends now.
Right, and he says while standing in that doorway, man, I'm not shit. Well, why do you think that? Well, my dad says so. So? Prove him wrong. Go off and do something for yourself instead of just taking whatever abuse that you are getting.
That's what they're all doing. Every last one of them. Like, one of the scenes I really like in the movie is when Connor's mom and dad are having their big fight, and they just aren't even trying to hide it. They are at the top of the stairs, packing bags. He is calling her a slut, basically, to her face. Their kids are at the bottom of the steps watching them. This is such an unhealthy way for parents to parent, and all of the teens are like, oh my God, will you just get divorced? You know it's bad when the kids are hoping for you to just end it.
When they're having their big family meeting at the table, the brother is like, finally, God, you're getting a divorce.
Now let me go back to my life.
Right.
But there's that scene where all three kids go into oldest brother's room, crank the music up as loud as possible, and they just dance and ignore what's going on outside. It is such a bonding thing for them, and it's all about music.
Yeah, I agree. That is a fantastic scene where all of the siblings come together. Even the sister. The sister doesn't really get a whole bunch to do here, but you can tell she's smart. She wants to do something with her life. She's trying to do her homework, and the brothers, all they want to do is talk about Duran Duran, which we gotta say, Betsy, we have to talk about this.
I know what you're gonna talk about.
I am so disappointed that we have already seen this movie. Guys, do you know the origin of the name Duran Duran? I hope you do.
We didn't until we watched a specific movie.
Yeah, and I'm really sad that we had already seen the movie Barbarella before we had this podcast, because holy shit, would we have things to say.
Oh yeah, the villain of the movie is called Duran Duran.
Yeah, they say it in the movie as Duran Duran.
And I think technically speaking, that's how most people pronounce the band name.
Yeah. But we Americanize it to be very simple.
Yeah.
but I did enjoy just the conversation about Duran Duran and the music videos and the dad being just an old man who was out of touch. And as long as we're talking about things not really related, the actor who plays the brother with the long hair, I could not stop thinking that he is just the Irish Seth Rogen. Come on! His beard, his smile, his fucking teeth.
Once you said
the
it,
look,
once you said it, I couldn't unsee it. I hadn't thought of it before, but yeah, I get where you're coming from with that.
Everything except his voice and his laugh.
He did not go, no. There was none of that.
No,
but I like the brother in this. I love that he knows he kind of it's too late for him, but there's still hope for my brother. He gives that big speech about, I was the only child for 6 years and I kind of paved the way for this family and I had to learn how to navigate mom and dad and I helped you guys navigate mom and dad.
Yeah, and those years for me were wasted. It's not until my brother comes along that I can start to steer him in the path that I was supposed to go down.
But that's the shit that really seems to have fucked him up because he is really actively upset in that scene.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if it's because he's actually more upset about his parents being divorced than he maybe expressed in the original scene. When they say,
maybe, yeah,
we're separating, he's just like, finally. But then the following scene, he's having kind of a meltdown.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it in that way, but that's possible.
It's sort of that, what was it all for feeling? Why did you put me through this if this is how it was going to end?
Right. But I love Betsy. When they say goodbye for the last time, when they go onto the boat and they go off and the brother is just like, yes, 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 finally, this is exactly how I wanted my brother's life to go.
He's punching the air.
Yeah.
He's just laughing in the seat of the car. It's the greatest day of his life and he's not even going anywhere.
Yeah, it was a really great moment.
So really, I think the only person we haven't talked much about is Rafina. So he meets this girl, and slowly we find out what her deal is. She keeps saying, oh, I don't go to school. I'm cool. I have a cool boyfriend. He drives a cool car, and I'm going to be a model. And she has all these dreams, and she talks a big talk. But really, we find out dad's dead. Mom is manic depressive. She lives in a girl's home because she's basically a ward of the state.
Yep.
When she does finally go with her boyfriend, it's terrible and he hits her. And she has this moment where she's like, well, I guess I have to give up all of my dreams. I'm just going to go work at McDonald's. I'm exactly like my mom.
Right. And I feel like the kid here has a good reaction when he gets up from that bench and walks away from her. Because she just left with this boyfriend, didn't say a word, didn't say, oh, actually, Saturday isn't going to work for me because I'm leaving by then.
And she knew because she made a face.
Absolutely. But that's part of the maturity for Connor. He's upset, and he has a right to be upset about it. But he still wants her to come. That's the difference.
But she's also really supportive of his band and like the look that they should have. Like, I'm going to do makeup. If you're all serious about this band, I'm going to do all of your makeup. And somehow convinces even the kid who plays the bass who said, I'm not wearing any makeup. Next time we see him, he's got eyeliner and lipstick on. She has ideas for their music videos. When they want a shot of her jumping in the water because she's a mermaid returning to the sea, he says, oh, jump over here where it's like a flat piece of land, but it doesn't look real. She says that's not good enough, and without consulting anybody, she jumps into the water even though she can't swim, all for the sake of the art. She believes so thoroughly in their music, in their videos, in their stupid little videos that they're making.
She yells up to say, keep filming and fucking save me because I can't swim. We need to get this shot.
And she's encouraging him. She says, never do anything halfway. That's why I jumped in the water. And that's what gets him to kiss her. And she's actually like, you know what? That was nice. But he opens his big mouth and says, what about your boyfriend, basically? Yeah. You ruined it. It was nice. It was a nice moment. And now it's ruined.
Yeah, and that's part of him being the nice boy. And not like he's a piece of shit by the end of the movie, but he hasn't matured in a way that she wants him to be. Now, again, she's 16 years old and he's 15 years old. I know it's 1985 in Ireland and they think about adulthood differently over there. These two are still kids. And really, I read something about, I think it was the writer of the movie. He said something about, I don't really know what happens with these characters. When they go to England and they're going to do whatever it is that they're going to do, they might have big dreams. They might have a plan, really. But in reality, they are just kids. And you have no idea what you are doing. So what do you think is going to happen with these two? I'm kind of approaching this like The Graduate, because there's a big question mark at the end of The Graduate where you don't really know what's happening here. They're doing a very impulsive thing, and then they're left with a question, well, now what?
It's absolutely like that movie where they're just going off into the sunset, and you hope they're going to make it. Realistically, if they go and get jobs, if they work hard enough, maybe it'll be okay. When you're 15 and 16 years old, I'm a little skeptical, but I'm also 40, almost 41 years old, and I'm too much of a pragmatist to say this is definitely going to work out. But as I said earlier, there's such a rush, a thrill of watching them do this stupid thing, and you just hope it's going to work out for them. You've said it many times. His music is getting better. Does he really have a shot? Maybe not at a record deal, but he might be able to make it as a working musician.
Well, that's the thing. He's got his demo tapes. He can go around to whatever labels that are in London, give them out to whoever wants to listen to it. It is the right era of music. So in theory, if these labels are looking for, like sounding bands, they would be stupid not to sign him.
He could play in clubs. He could be a songwriter. Maybe she could make it as a model, maybe small time, but if you can do it as a working musician, a working model, doesn't mean you have to be the most world famous person.
Yeah, you just need a job. You need income. And at that age, you have a lot of time in order to make it happen for yourself.
And having a high school diploma or the equivalent thereof didn't matter as much in those days.
Definitely not.
Every other person didn't finish school in Ireland in the 1980s.
No. But I think I'm with you. I have hope for these two crazy kids. I do like their band, even though, again, they're a bunch of misfits. They don't really fit together, but they absolutely do. And that's what makes it work.
Yes, it does. But Trent, do you have any other thoughts about Sing Street before we wrap this one up?
At the end of the movie, before the credits start rolling, there's kind of a tribute line that says, "For brothers everywhere." I think you can interpret that a lot of different ways. It could be, hey, everybody who went to Catholic school and you have a camaraderie there. It could be the brothers of the band where you're more than friends. You become brothers because of what you go through together. Or it could literally be just blood brothers. Support your brothers and they will support you.
That feels like the biggest one, just because there is an older brother trying to help his little brother not make the same mistakes as him.
But I would like to believe that it's all three.
I don't disagree with that, because the group, as they form and become better friends, it's really nice watching them all together. Like him and Eamon writing songs together, and they're like, yeah, I like that. I like that. What if we do it like this?
Yeah.
And you just get to see that little spark of creativity between the two of them.
It's almost like a John Lennon and Paul McCartney kind of a thing. And I have to imagine that they were thinking about such a thing. But yeah, Betsy, I like this movie. I don't really have anything else to talk about. I'm glad that we watched this. I wasn't apprehensive. It's just, I don't know anything about it. It's not really widely known, but I think it fits with what we're trying to do with this series.
And it's like you said when we came back from the break, it's a nice movie. You and I appreciate once in a while just sitting down and watching a movie that makes you smile, maybe sheds a little tear. You're just watching these kids be kids, and it makes you feel good. And I think sometimes that's all you need.
I agree.
So that'll do it for Sing Street. We would love to know your thoughts on this movie, because as I said, I know not a lot of people have seen this in the way that they've probably seen Josie and the Pussycats and some of the other movies we're going to talk about. But I suspect if you have seen it, it's maybe special to you. So send us your thoughts to neverseenitpod@gmail.com. We did get some thoughts about last week's movie, Josie and the Pussycats. This was sent to us on Twitter from our follower, Aaron. He said, Josie and the Pussycats was so far ahead of its time, being a satire of capitalism that critics didn't even understand the point it was making. I love this movie.
I mean, 25 years later, you'd be hard-pressed not to understand what it is that they're trying to say. In 2001, though, maybe not.
I wonder if people will revisit this movie now that it has celebrated its 25th anniversary. We're doing a lot of that right now. How many movies are being re-released in the theaters?
Oh, yeah.
Re-release Josie and the Pussycats, you cowards!
Literally, we were in the theater about to watch the Mario movie, and they had an advertisement for, hey, Shrek is going to be re-released in the theaters. Do we need to do that? No. But Betsy, people in our generation, especially people who are going to see the Mario movie, a lot of us people in this generation have children, and maybe they want to go and bring their kids to see movies that they saw when they were kids. I don't know. 25 years to me seems like a very long time, but it's not really.
Would the tweens like Josie and the Pussycats? There's only one way to find out.
I mean, they like K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah, so come on. Re-release it, you cowards.
There you go.
So thank you, Aaron, for that comment. If you guys have seen Josie and the Pussycats or Sing Street or any of our other movies that we've covered recently, or frankly ever, we're closing in on movie 400 in the very near future. Once again, that email address, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You can also message us on any of those platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. We're on Letterboxd now, TikTok, YouTube. We're all over the place. So if you have thoughts about any of these movies, send them to us because we want to hear what you think. I haven't asked anybody to do this for a while, so I'm going to mention you can go to wherever you're listening to this podcast, write us a review, say nice things about us, rate us 5 stars. All of that helps us get in front of more people to find out about the show. And of course, if you haven't had enough of us from this episode, you can go to patreon.com/neverseenitpod, where we have 4 more monthly shows, plus a couple of rotating bonus shows anytime we have an extra Wednesday in the month.
Which we do in the month of April. And guys, we're going to be re-watching a movie that we've only seen once. We'll be covering Denis Villeneuve's Arrival.
Consequently, also released in 2016, the same year as Sing Street.
Uh-huh.
So again, check all that out. It's just $5 a month, patreon.com/neverseenitpod. We would really appreciate it. So that is going to be the end of this episode, but we have 2 more in our installment of I'm with the Band. Trent, what will we be watching next week?
Well, Betsy, because we've already covered a couple of movies about fake bands, how about we watch a movie about a real band? And just as a reminder, bands come in all shapes and sizes, so next week we're covering Straight Outta Compton.
This has been on the watch list since it got released, so we are finally going to take it off the watch list. But until next week, we thank you for listening. My name is Betsy.
And my name is Trent.
And we'll see you then.